a lunar eclipse. It's visible from anywhere on the nighttime side of the Earth. And we have telescopes lined up on 3 different continents and in different hemispheres. And these are going to give us 3 very different views of tonight's eclipse. So firstly, well, Anna, you've already mentioned the Time and Date Mobile Observatory. They're giving us the image we're seeing on the main screen at the moment, coming from Bergen in Norway. Now, in Europe, the night is still young. In Bergen, it's just after 9 p.m. local time. The moon is still rising up into the sky in the eastern half of the sky. Now that's very different to our next location. In the top right corner of the screen, we can see the pictures coming in from Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. And there we have Ahmad Hassan Ahmad and Mahmoud Hassan. They are running the telescopes there in Dubai. And on the Arabian Peninsula, it is a midnight eclipse. The local time right now, it's just after 11 p.m. Maximum eclipse will come just after midnight. So there, the moon is riding high in the sky, right above our telescopes in Dubai. And that is very different to the situation in our third location. And there in the corner of the screen, we've just brought up the images from Perth in Western Australia. Now there we have our old friend, Matt Woods at Perth Observatory. And in Perth, well, we're getting towards the end of night. The local time is just gone 3 o'clock in the morning. So we're getting towards the end of the night. The moon is getting quite low in the western half of the sky. And yeah, in fact, before this eclipse ends, the moon will be setting in Western Australia. So there we have 3 very different views of this eclipse.
Yeah, and we also have some more information about this eclipse on the side of our screen. There we have our timeline, our trusty timeline, and it's showing that we're in the penumbral phase of this eclipse, and it's moving down through the different stages of this partial eclipse. And below us we have this lovely UTC clock. It's the only time you need for this lunar eclipse, and it'll line up with our timeline there and help us follow the eclipse. The current situation is that we're kind of 2/3 into the penumbral phase of this eclipse. Partial will start in about 30 minutes or so, 29 minutes. We can already see the side of the moon darkening there on the, you like to call it that 7 o'clock position there, don't you call it that, Graham, there in Bergen in Norway. So yeah, we've got these gorgeous images of the moon already. And what else can we see in tonight's eclipse, Graham?
Well, of course, I mean, one important question is who can see tonight's event? So this is a full moon, and you know, wherever you are in the world, a full moon, roughly speaking, rises around sunset, and it sets around sunrise. So a full moon is up all night. So if you're somewhere on the globe where it's nighttime or where it's dark outside, the moon will be above the horizon and you will have an opportunity to see this eclipse. So which parts of the globe are we talking about? Well, we can take a look at our Moonlight world map. We've brought it up there in the corner of the screen. Now here we've got our map of the world, and it's divided into 2 different shadings. Now this is a moonlight map. So the lighter area, that's the part of the globe that's covered in moonlight. That's the part of the globe where the moon is above the horizon. And we can see that, right now, the parts of the globe that can see the moon, we're talking about Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia. Now, over the course of the next 2 hours, the Earth is going to be rotating. And as we look at that moonlight map, that sort of lighter area where the moon is visible, that's going to be shifting across the map from right to left. And from there, we can see that Australia is about to start disappearing out of that moonlight area. That's because the moon is going to start setting across Australia over the next couple of hours. We can also see on the map that in the middle, we have a little picture of the moon. There's a little moon icon in the center of the map. That shows the part of the globe where the moon is directly overhead. So right now, the moon is directly overhead, more or less India. But again, as the Earth rotates, as that map sort of shifts across the screen, then that moon is going to move across the Arabian Peninsula, and around about maximum eclipse, it's going to be almost directly above our telescopes there in Dubai.
Well, that's good. And we're still waiting for partial to start, but we can still see, we can really see that darkening happening there in the corner there of the moon image there from Dubai. It's looking darker and darker there on the side. So even though we haven't started partial, we can already see the darker part of Earth's shadow creeping up on the moon there. So be sure to have a look at timeanddate.live. There we have more information about this eclipse. We've got lots more show to go. We're still only 5 minutes into our show, so we've got lots more to see. Go to timeanddate.live. Pictures, stories, our partners, everything you need to know about this partial lunar eclipse, and we will see you back here soon.
C'est qui?
Ma banque en ligne.
En plein milieu de la nuit?
Welcome back. You're watching a partial lunar eclipse on timeanddate.com, and we've been looking at some beautiful images of the full moon there, alternating between Bergen, Norway, Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, and Perth in Western Australia. And they're also pretty that we have no clouds, we have no stress, and we just need to fill up the screen with these beautiful moons. So that's really cool. We've got our timeline there on the side. It's got is showing that dot moving us towards partial when partial starts. But like Graham likes to remind me about lunar eclipses, the timings in lunar eclipses are quite fluid. It's slow moving, and we can already see the moon's inner darker shadow, its umbra, darkening the side of our full moons there. It's looking really, really pretty. And 2 weeks ago, we were talking about looking at the sun being eclipsed. Tonight, it's the moon, and we get questions about this, the difference between solar and lunar eclipses, and why lunar eclipses why don't happen every month. So, Graham, let us know all the sciencey bits about lunar eclipses.
Yeah, as you say, we've been getting some great questions from people. One of the questions is, why is this only a partial eclipse tonight? One of the others that you mentioned there was, why we don't get a lunar eclipse at every full moon. Well, interestingly, in one way, these two questions are related.
Yeah.
The question about why there's not an eclipse every full moon, that's a great question, because our full moon, that is when the sun is on one side of the earth, the moon is on the other side of the earth. So you would expect that there would be an eclipse every month. The reason that there isn't is because the moon's orbit around the earth is just very slightly tilted. Not by much, only by about 5 degrees. But that does mean that most months, when we're at full moon, there's not a perfect alignment between the sun, the earth, and the moon doesn't pass through the earth's shadow in space. The same thing, of course, applies to solar eclipses, which happen at new moon. Because of the moon's tilted orbit, at most new moons, the moon passes by the sun in the sky, but it doesn't pass exactly over the sun. It's just a little bit above or a little bit below. And that kind of leads us to the question of why this is only a partial eclipse, because every 6 months or so, there is a little window of alignment. It lasts about 34 days, and it's called an eclipse season. Now, during this short period of about 34 days, if there is a full moon, we will get a good alignment and it will produce a lunar eclipse. Likewise, if there's a new moon, it will give us a solar eclipse. Now, this eclipse season lasts 34 days, and a lunar month, the time it takes the moon to go from full moon to new moon and back to full moon again, that is only 29.5 days, which is shorter than an eclipse season. So that means that every time we have an eclipse season, every 6 months, we are guaranteed to have at least one lunar eclipse at full moon and at least one solar eclipse at new moon. But as always, timing is everything. If the eclipse happens towards the middle of the eclipse season, we get a really perfect alignment, and that gives us a total eclipse. If the eclipse happens more towards the edge of the eclipse season, we still get the eclipse, but it's not quite a perfect alignment, and we only get this partial eclipse. So, as you say, Anna, 2 weeks ago, we were there in New Mexico for an annular solar eclipse. That was a perfect alignment of the sun, the moon, and the Earth. The reason it wasn't a total eclipse was simply because the moon was a bit further away than usual and couldn't cover the sun completely, but the alignment was perfect. Now here we are, 2 weeks later. We've moved towards the end of the eclipse season. The alignment is not quite perfect, and so tonight we just have this partial eclipse where the dark part of the Earth's shadow will just nibble away a little bit at the edge of the moon.
And we can already see it getting darker, but what we've seen when we've been covering total lunar eclipses is that the moon actually goes red. And will it go red like during a total lunar eclipse?
Yeah, so that's another great question that people are asking. So as things stand at the moment, nearly all of the moon is covered by the Earth's penumbral shadow. That's the lighter outer part of Earth's shadow. If you were standing on the moon at the moment and you looked up, you would see the Earth blocking some, but not all of the sun. Now, when we get to the start of the partial eclipse, which is now just a few minutes away, that's when the darker inner shadow of the Earth, it's called the umbra, that will just start to cover one little edge of the moon. Now, if you're standing in that part of the moon during the partial stage and you look up, you will see the Earth completely covering the sun. However, it wouldn't go completely dark for you. When you look up, you would see the Earth as a black disk in front of the sun, but around the Earth, you would see the Earth's atmosphere sort of lit up by sunlight and glowing red. And this sort of a reddish halo in the sky, that would actually turn your surroundings, it would give them a sort of a reddish tint. Now we can see this reddish tint from the Earth, but normally we can only see it during a total eclipse when the whole of the moon's face is covered by this reddish shadow. Tonight, that shadow will only cover just a very tiny fraction of the moon, and the rest of the moon will still be a bright silvery color. So you can't really tell the contrast, and you can't really see that red color during the partial stage. It only really becomes noticeable when that reddish umbral shadow is covering the whole face of the moon.
But that's for us mere mortals looking up at the moon. But if we're lucky, Stefan might be tricksing and fixing a little bit with his exposure there on the telescope, and we might be able to see a little bit of red. But that remains to be seen, to see if he can manage to capture that red shadow for us. But there's other stuff that you can look at in the sky during the eclipse as well, right, Graham?
That's right. Well, one thing we should mention tonight, Anna, is Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. Next week, Jupiter will reach opposition. That's an astronomical term. That means that Jupiter will be on the opposite side of the Earth to the Sun. That means that Jupiter will be rising around sunset, it'll be overhead around midnight, and it will be setting around sunrise. So it's a really good time of year to observe Jupiter. Now, of course, the moon, tonight it's a full moon, and so the moon is also at opposition tonight. The moon is on the opposite side of the Earth to the sun, and that puts the moon and Jupiter in the same part of the sky. So if you are out looking at the moon tonight, you will see a very bright star-like object next to the moon, and that will be Jupiter shining brightly next to the moon tonight.
Now there's something to impress your friends with. in our night sky map, there's all the planets, and you can go in, you can check out where they are, and you can go out any night and find the planets in the sky if they're up. You have to check the night sky map. On timeanddate.live, you can find more information about our night sky map, about this eclipse, about other stuff that has to do with this eclipse, our partners, that kind of stuff. We're also going to be back soon talking to Khadija in Dubai. So see you later.
Conçu par Google. Google Pixel 8.
Welcome back to this partial lunar eclipse on timeanddate.com. Where are we? It's 1940 UTC, and the partial phase of this eclipse started about 5 minutes ago. So if we look at our picture of the moon there, we can see that we have lost the edge of the moon. It has been swallowed up by the darker inner part of Earth's shadow. And the partial phase of this eclipse will run over the next hour and 15 minutes or so. Now our pictures here on our main screen are coming from Dubai, from the Dubai Astronomy Group. We have Ahmad Hassan Ahmad and Mahmoud Hassan. They are in charge of the telescope there that's bringing us these wonderful images of the eclipsed moon. And also at the top of our screen, we have Khadija Ahmad, who is the operations manager at the Dubai Astronomy Group. We last met Khadija a couple of weeks ago in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at the airport, as we were all traveling back from the solar eclipse. But Khadija, you're back at your home base for this eclipse. So thank you for joining us. And where exactly are you streaming from tonight?
It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me on this interview. We are joining you guys from Dubai, United Arab Emirates, and we are streaming from Mushrif Park at the Al Thuraya Astronomy Center. So this is where we are streaming from. This is where we're having an event showing people this incredible eclipse.
Wow, great. How many people do you have at your event tonight?
We have, I guess, around 150, 200 people downstairs, and lots of children. Lots of children came to see this event. We were very excited, and nobody's on their phone, which is incredible that everyone's just looking up at the moon. We have about 8 telescopes set up downstairs, and the public are all over these telescopes observing and taking pictures. And then we have another telescope set up upstairs to do the live stream.
Oh, that sounds
Excellent.
really awesome. It does. And Dubai Astronomy Group, what do you guys do?
So we are a nonprofit organization. Our job is to promote astronomy through events and activities any way that we can in the UAE region, the Middle East, and now around the world, as we're trying to go to many different places where eclipses are happening. So we do lots of events and activities here with schools, with the general public, with the organizations, with the government organizations and the private organizations, as much as we can, in any way that we can, to promote astronomy and science and just raise awareness about it. in the country.
That sounds like a lot of fun and a lot of work. And is Dubai a good country for stargazing?
Depends on the location. So anywhere near the city, I would never recommend that. Even though we are still in the middle of the city, we are just 20 minutes from downtown. We're still able to see some things. We are also on the path of the airplane, so we are not the ideal location, but we could still see some stuff here. And the moon is quite beautiful on our location, but I would recommend going as far in the desert as possible. The best ones would be Al Qudra Desert, which is about an hour from our location. And that place you could see few stars. I wouldn't say it's the best as you would see anywhere else around the world. But if you go to the other Emirates, such as Abu Dhabi, places like that, you could see a bit more. But I wouldn't say the skies are as gorgeous as you guys probably have it on
Oh,
non-cloudy
I
days.
think yes, and we were a bit worried there because earlier this week we were getting images from you guys with clouds, and you were telling us that it was raining, and we were a bit worried that we weren't going to get any beautiful images of the moon from you guys. But it all cleared up in time, didn't it, Khadija?
Yes, it rained quite heavily all over the UAE the past 2 days. And as we were going to the event today, even in the afternoon, there was huge clouds around us, and we were quite worried. But thankfully, no clouds on site. It is very clear today, and we're very, very lucky for that.
We feel really,
How's the
really
skies with
lucky to
you?
be showing. Oh, the clouds outside our window have really bad, but Stefan and Adalbert have gone up to the rain capital of Norway in Bergen, and they're getting beautiful, clear images of the moon from there. So that's a bit ironic, isn't it?
It's amazing. We all got lucky. Thankfully, no clouds for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Khadija, we know you have you have lots of guests that you have to be looking after there, so we're not going to keep you too long. Really, thank you very much for joining us for a chat. So what is it? We are yes, we are into the partial phase. It is coming up to midnight in Dubai, so the moon is really nicely overhead. So yes, Khadija, we wish you and all of the guests who have come to enjoy the eclipse with you, we hope you have a great experience there as we work our way towards the maximum phase of this eclipse. That's coming up in about half an hour from now. In the meantime, please keep checking our live news feed at timeanddate.live, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And Anna and I will be back very shortly.
Allez, ça y est, tu es à fond. Hollywood, mâcher, mâcher, ne rien lâcher.
This is a partial lunar eclipse live on timeanddate.com. We are at 2000 UTC and we're really getting towards the maximum stage of this eclipse. This is a very small partial eclipse tonight. So what we're looking at on the screen now, we're seeing in the main image the moon as it looks from Bergen in Norway. This is roughly how the moon is going to look for the next half hour or so as we move across the maximum stage of this eclipse. Now, Anna, as always, there's lots of questions that people have, and a lot of people have been wondering about the different views that we're seeing in our different feeds tonight.
Yes, because telescopes, they can actually flip images. So depending on how you've got your settings set up, the telescope can be flipped and the eclipse, the direction the eclipse is coming from can look different. On top of that, we can have different colors. That depends on your exposure. It depends on even on filters and white balance in your telescope and in your cameras. So there are many kind of technical reasons why this happens, but there are other reasons too, aren't there, Graham?
There are, and well, actually, the point you just made about exposures, we're actually getting a very nice example of that on the screen at the moment. We've got two images coming in from the Time and Date Mobile Observatory there in Bergen. The image on the main screen is giving us this very kind of natural look of the sun. In the corner, we have a very overexposed image where most of the moon is just a kind of a washed out white, but that really does show us that inner part of the Earth's shadow. Anna, we've been talking about the two different shadows. There's this lighter outer shadow and this darker inner shadow. That view that we're getting in the top right corner of the screen, that is really showing us where the darker inner shadow is just taking a little nibble out of the moon there.
But it's
Yeah.
not red though. It's not red though. It's not.
No. I think there the exposure has been put up, and we're not right. We're not getting any reddish color there. That is because it's such a small little slice of the moon. It would be difficult to get that, but it's a very nice demonstration of the two different shadows on the moon there. You mentioned other things as well, Anna. We do have feeds coming in from different hemispheres tonight. So Norway, they're at the top of Europe in the southern hemisphere. We've also, now on our main screen, we've brought the image back from Perth in the southern hemisphere. So the orientation of the moon switches as we go from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. The other difference between Bergen and Perth is that in Bergen, the local time is around about 10 o'clock at night. In Perth, it's now getting towards just after 4 o'clock in the morning. So opposite ends of the night, and the moon does appear to rotate as it crosses the sky over the course of the night. So that's another reason why we're seeing the shadows coming in from different angles on the moon.
Yeah.
So yes, here we are then, about 10 minutes away from the maximum point of this eclipse. Anna, before we go any further, Time and Date does have an important reminder for our viewers in Europe tonight.
Yeah, when we were looking at the timings for this eclipse, we were really happy that they were on the right side of the night, on the evening side of the night, because in Europe, we will be setting our clocks back to standard time at 1 UTC. I'm going to point at the UTC clock again, but it's not going to be running at 1 UTC because our show will be over. But so the clocks get set back tonight, and we're very happy that it didn't happen in the middle of our show, are we, Graham?
Right. Exactly, and it's
sorry, I was just going to say there's other stuff going on in Europe as well. It's not only lunar eclipses that people are interested in Europe or setting their clocks. There's other things happening, right, Graham?
Well, that's right. Also in Europe, about an hour ago, the final of the Rugby World Cup kicked off at the Stade de France in Paris, in France. And this means that we have an eclipsed moon over the stadium where the rugby final is taking place. Right now in Paris, the moon is at an altitude of about 31 degrees in the sky, and it's rising. So yes, people there might be able to catch sight of an eclipsed moon hanging over this game. And Anna, we have a great story in the astronomy news section of our website where we talk about that and other big sporting events in history that have been eclipsed by an eclipse.
So that story and a lot more, you can find it on timeanddate.live with pictures, reactions to this eclipse, pictures of our partners, links to where they're working from, and timeanddate.live. Hit subscribe on YouTube as well to not miss out on future events, and we will see you back here on this channel soon. you're watching a partial lunar eclipse on timeanddate.com. Looking at our screen here, we can see that we've just passed max. We've got a beautiful image from Bergen, Norway there, where the bottom bit of the moon looks like it's just fading into space. That's looking quite cool there. Oh, some birds flying across the moon there. It's fun looking at these images, I have to say, even though there's not like super a lot of action. We've had some weather reports from Matt in Perth. He's telling us that the clouds are rolling in. He's got his fingers crossed. We have our fingers crossed that they're rolling really fast, and hopefully we'll get images back from Perth soon.
Yeah, it's fingers crossed on Perth. The other issue there, Anna, is that it's now 4:20 in the morning. We are getting towards moonset. The moon is very low in the sky. It's about 12 degrees above the horizon, which is getting quite low. It's always more difficult to catch things when they're low on the horizon, because you've got much more of the atmosphere to look through, so you have a higher chance of cloud. So it's not looking hopeful for Matt, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. We said earlier, Anna, that he's an old friend of Time and Date. This is the 7th eclipse that he's done with us, and just to prove what a great friend Matt is, let's just remind ourselves again that it's coming up to 4:30 in the morning, and Matt has been heroically working through the night to share the images there from Perth. So yes, thank you, Matt, and we're keeping our fingers crossed.
And for Matt, 11 degrees Celsius is a very cold 11 degrees Celsius for him. So he's been complaining about the cold. But we've got our weather reports from Bergen, where we have clear skies. We've already mentioned that Bergen is the rain capital of Norway, but that's where they ended up. Our mobile observatory and chief eclipse chaser, Stefan Thorsen, who's braving near freezing temperatures from a rooftop in Bergen, Norway. Hi, Stefan.
Hi, Anna.
How are you doing? You've been poring over the weather reports, over the forecast models, different models, and what have you been looking at, and how did you end up in not so rainy Bergen tonight?
We have been looking at weather reports, so the forecast for this day for 10 days, I guess, and it's been clouds everywhere, more or less, or at least sort of small patches of clouds, and no large clear areas, which seemed like great places to look for. But the coast of Norway, from the very southern part to the very northern part, had kind of the best prospects all week, unless you go to the very southeast of Europe, where there were also some nice weather. But that's kind of far to travel. So we really want to be in Norway this time, if possible, and we really wish to get to stay in the Stavanger HQ. But it looked actually a bit positive a few days ago, but then we saw some clouds coming from the south. So we decided to going to Bergen, which is kind of the neighboring city of Stavanger. So it's a 4.5 hour drive. The 2 ferries, very nice trip actually. And we ended up in Bergen, as you say, a place which isn't really known for great weather.
No, it isn't at all.
Yeah. And now you're there. It's coming up to 10:30 in the evening local time. How are the conditions there, Stefan?
It's a bit cold. We are sitting here and freezing a bit. I think I have 5 layers on, and still freezing a bit. And I would love to have gloves on it too, but I need to kind of have fingers available for from using equipment and stuff. So it's a bit chilly, yeah, it is. But there's very little wind. We're also on a rooftop with some roof tiles, or the floor tiles here are a bit loose. So if we move anything, just walk, we will start wobbling the telescope. So we just need to be in place, more or less. That's an extra, wasn't what we hoped for, but it's something we learn to live with.
Yeah, yeah. And you're there with Adalbert, and you've been sending us great images. You've also been sending us some very different looking images from different telescopes there in Bergen.
Yeah, we're very happy to actually bring our biggest telescope, a telescope which normally is too big to bring with the mobile observatory because it's actually won't easily fit on. Well, it will be possible to ship on a plane, but it will need multiple cases. So it's not easy to ship on a plane. So we're very happy to actually be able to bring the biggest telescope, which we've seen most of today. But now we're trying with the big telescope to actually zoom in more and overexpose the bright side of the moon and trying to get a bit of detail or reddish color on the dark side. But it wasn't very easy today. It's a bit too. The partial eclipse isn't that big, so if it had a bit more magnitude, it would probably be possible to see more of it. But we kind of made an attempt on it at least. The other image we have is more like a regular moon, full moon image, which just basically shows the dimming of the moon, of the eclipse part. But it doesn't show, it doesn't really show any detail at all on the eclipse part because that's just too dim to show.
Well, it's great. The images are looking great. Finally, Stefan, we're 6 months away from our next eclipse after this one. This is the big total solar eclipse across Mexico and the USA and Canada coming up in April next year. The main time and date team for this eclipse is going to Texas, but you are going to be taking your telescope and heading up and chasing eclipses in the northeastern corner of the United States.
Yeah, it's a bit like we do now this time. Sort of it really sounds like a hopeless task to trying to capture an eclipse in Norway, but we made it multiple times in Norway despite the weather reports. So the plan is really to go to probably New York first, and then kind of have some options from there to go to different places from the very maybe even into Canada, but it depends to find a place where we can chase it and actually catch some good weather. So I'm hoping that will be a success, but we never know. But it's a bit of a challenge, and I like challenges.
Yeah, so Stefan's going to take his super mobile observatory to the northeast part of North America in 2024, April 2024. We're going to let Stefan go, maybe rub his fingers together. Maybe that even will bump the telescope. We do not know, but let's hope it doesn't, and he can warm up. And we're going to be back soon. Make sure to take a look at timeanddate.live for more information about Stefan and the mobile observatory and all this fun stuff and tidbits about this eclipse. And Stefan, you will get to relax and stay in the dark and stream these beautiful pictures to us. And we will see you back here soon. You're watching a partial lunar eclipse with Graham and I, Anna, on timeanddate.com, and the moon is looking beautiful. So there's still some beautiful images of the moon to enjoy and adore. And we've had our fingers crossed for Matt and Perth, but I think those clouds have come to stay, and the moon will be setting, the sun will be rising, and the eclipse will be over there. So yeah, next total lunar eclipse will be in 2025. So we've still got some time to wait. Like we said earlier, this is a small lunar eclipse. It's just relatively small. You just got like a little bit, like in the image above you there, Graham. It looks beautiful. You've got that overexposed image there from Stefan, who's freezing his fingers off in Bergen, Norway. So he's sacrificing his hands for us to get us these beautiful images there. Yeah, Graham, 2025 for the next lunar eclipse, but we don't have to wait that long for another eclipse.
Well, that's right. Eclipse seasons roll around every 6 months. And at the moment, we are in a period of really good solar eclipses. We had that spectacular annular solar eclipse across North and South America 2 weeks ago, Anna. The next eclipse season comes up in 6 months' time, and this one also contains a real standout solar eclipse. On April the 8th, 2024, there will be a total solar eclipse across Mexico, the United States, and Canada. And it is set to be one of those really landmark eclipses that passes over lots of centers of population and really helps to inspire a new generation of eclipse chasers. So it is an exciting eclipse coming up. We can take a look at the map for this great North American eclipse. There it is on the screen. The light shaded area is where there's a partial eclipse. That little thin, very thin strip running across the middle of the map through Mexico, the USA, and into Canada, that is the path of totality. That is the very narrow strip of land where the moon will completely cover the sun, producing a total solar eclipse. As we were talking with Stefan earlier, he is going to be going up to the northeastern corner of the United States and chasing the best view of the eclipse from that corner of the continent. Anna, you and I and the rest of the main Time and Date team will be on the other side of the country in Texas. And that will be April the 8th next year, a big total solar eclipse across North America. In the meantime, it is 2043 UTC. We're a little under 10 minutes away from the end of the partial phase of this eclipse. If we look at either of our images from Bergen, we can see that the dark part of Earth's shadow is will soon be sliding altogether off the face of the moon. The eclipse will continue for another hour or so, but this will just involve the lighter outer part of the Earth's shadow, the penumbral shadow. That's why that's called the penumbral stage of the eclipse. So not so much to see there in terms of shadows. So yes, another few minutes of partial. Anna, we're going to be back for a few more comments in a few minutes' time. But in the meantime, always remember to have a look at timeanddate.live, where we've got lots of information about this and other eclipses, including the big eclipse in April next year. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on our future live events. And we'll be back very soon. So this partial lunar eclipse on timeanddate.com is coming to an end. In the next couple of minutes, the partial phase of this eclipse will end. The Earth's dark umbral shadow will leave the face of the moon. That will be the end of this partial eclipse, and we will just be left with the light outer part of Earth's shadow covering the moon. So this eclipse is almost done, and we're going to be ending our broadcast here in the next 10 minutes or so. But before we do that, we do want to say an enormous thank you to our partners tonight. We have two amazing partners who have been sending us images. First of all, in Perth, we've had Matt Woods from Perth Observatory, who has been braving the cold overnight temperatures there in Western Australia. He just lost the moon to the clouds towards the end, but we had some fantastic images from him before that. So thank you very much again to Matt. Our other collaborator tonight, the Dubai Astronomy Group in the United Arab Emirates. Earlier, we talked to Khadija Ahmad, their operations manager. And we also need to thank the two people who have been setting up and running the telescope feed from Dubai. That is Ahmad Hassan Ahmad and Mahmoud Hassan. So yes, thank you very much to everyone at the Dubai Astronomy Group.
But we don't only have partners to thank, we have the gang here at Time and Date HQ to thank. But first, we want to start in Bergen with freezing cold Staffan and Adalbert running the Time and Date mobile observatory from the rain capital of Norway with clear, beautiful, crisp skies there. So they're enjoying themselves there, managing everything in our control room. We've got Daniel, we've got Gustav, and we've got Andy. They've been fixing all the images in the background here. The person running the amazing live feed that we keep referring to, timeanddate.live, that is Aparna. She's been putting all those beautiful little stories in there and all those pictures of the moon. We've got Matthew, Kobe, and Ina Maria. They have been managing the conversations on YouTube and make sure that all our comments are being looked at and questions being answered. We've got Ada, our graphic designer. She's been making all those beautiful graphics that you've been looking at. Also, all the setup here on the screen. And Anya, our project manager, she's been keeping the whole team together for not only the past week, but the past few months. It's been a marathon eclipse season for us, and we've got a big one coming up next. So check out timeanddate.live. It's the last time I'm going to say it tonight. You'll find astronomy research resources. You'll find stuff about Time and Date, about our partners, about all the fun things. Subscribe to YouTube so you don't miss out on future broadcasts. And we're going to leave you with these beautiful pictures of the moon on the screen. I'm Anna Buckle. That's Graham Jones. And we're going to see you for the next eclipse in April. So bye. time and day, we look up into the sky. We bring you exclusive footage from eclipses worldwide. We take our mobile observatory to where the action happens. Hi, Stefan.
Hi, Anna.
We collaborate with experts and observatories across the globe to bring you the best view of celestial events.